Today's topic, what shoulders, but of course it's not just the shoulders. And I know that email I sent out yesterday, it was a little anatomy heavy. Because shoulders are just such an interesting part of our anatomy in that you take your hands to your collarbones, you feel these two little notches. This is where your whole shoulder girdle hangs from. This is the joint. And it seems like, really? There? Nothing on the back? Nope. The collarbones draws out, connects to your shoulder blades. And then your upper arm bone connects to the shoulder blade. So it's this little siggity-saggity thing. So from here to here, it is one, this is how we move. So in yoga, we often say that the arms represents the energy of the heart because it is right here. And of course, also the philosophy says the Atman, our inner light soul, whatever you call this part spirit, resides right behind the sternum. And the movement, position of the sternum, of course, has a lot to do with our posture. If I have a forward rounding posture, now it just drags everything forward. My shoulder blades are sliding up. And my arms, my shoulder joint really doesn't stand a chance. So part of what we need to work on is, of course, just getting our posture lifted. Like I like to say, lift the girls or lift your inner heart light. So with that said, let's take a couple of blankets and we will start in the spinal support. So I'm folding my blankets over. You can fold them just once over. That'll give you a wider support. You can also do the trifold, which will just support the spine. So we want the long way, because my whole spine from sacrum to crown will be on the, it sounds like I'm doing a little Muppet show here. Hello. So one blanket, maybe two. So two is going to be a little bit more dramatic for the arms. But of course, the benefit is you can always remove one. Can you do this without blankets? Absolutely. So I'm placing the fringe edge down towards where my feet are going to be. So two blankets. And then the easiest way to get on this little setup is come down beside it and then roll right up onto it. So from sacrum to the skull, everything is supported. You're going to keep your knees bent up so that the low back doesn't get all junky here. And draw the tailbone, lengthen everything down a little bit. And we'll start with our arms out to the sides. So right now we have placed the spine higher than our arm bones, and that invites the pec majors in particular to release. As you breathe in and out, we'll start with diaphragmatic breathing, because our breathing pattern plays a huge role in our shoulder. Of course, it's the lungs. And as the lungs hugs the heart, what happens here affects everything else in the body. So beginning to invite the breath into the lower abdomen. Keeping the upper chest relatively still so that we begin to place some movement on the diaphragm, which in turn will nudge a little bit to the psoas. They intersect on the same vertebra and help the psoas release a little bit. When we work with the breath, our pranamaya kosha, the second layer in of our Russian doll makeup, Of course, these layers don't exist separate, but it's a nice way to think of it. Our outer layer is our food layer, literally. It's our physical self, our matter. The second layer being the prana, the energy, and the breath practice. So practice the fourth limb, pranayama, which allows us connect to our third layer in the mind layer. Tension in the mind affects the body. It cannot not. Now I invite you to here, bend your elbows if it's available for cactus arms. The back of the hands resting, the back of the lower arms resting on the floor. If your arms or forearms are floaty, straighten them out a little bit more because the restriction might very well come from the pecs. So we want the arms to be resting fully. Otherwise, we add more tension to tension that's already there. With the belly breath, let's begin to just do some very, very gentle arch and flatten. So as you inhale, contract the low back. Arch the low back away from your support. And as you exhale, draw back to neutral and flatten. Tailbone might lift up a wee bit. You're at the top of the sacrum. Moving back and forth in a very gentle, unhurried way. Letting your head just rock along with the pelvis or the back of the skull and the sacrum. Let them mirror one another. Gentle and easy movement. And then from here, next time you come back to neutral, stretch the elbows out again. Now super slow, and I invite you to close your eyes for this one. Lift your arms up so the palms will come together. So using our proprioception skills with the eyes closed, will your palms come together right at center and evenly? And once the palms comes together, let's just slide the arms back and forth. One palm up, one palm down. So right now we're just inviting our shoulder blades to move a little bit on the back. As all arm movement ideally has a mirroring shoulder blade movement, so that we are not straining the muscles, the four rotator cuff tendons and muscles that are attached to the shoulder blade to the arm. But yes, there are 17 muscles attached to the shoulder blades. It's crazy. All right. Separated the arms out about shoulder width apart. And now pull the shoulders down. And your shoulder blades are going to squeeze and hug your blanket. And then lift the arms up. This is protraction. As you draw the shoulder blades down, retraction. Up and down. We'll play more with this movement. This allows us the shoulder movement that we need to get the arms overhead and up. So if you slowly protract, lifting the fingertips towards the sky, and then draw the arms back, draw the arms back. Can you feel the shoulder blades kind of spreading on the back? We'll draw the arms back up again, lifting the arms up. And then hug them into the sockets, retraction, retraction. And just for a little study moment, keep your shoulders retracted, hugging in. And then very gently, and you're not going to go very far, begin to take your arms overhead. So now there's no movement in the shoulder blade. Everything is kind of locked down. And you can tell you're really restricted in your arm movement here. So let's take the arms back up again. Protract, because that's what we want. This is your downward facing dog all day long. Shalabhasana with the arms forward. Warrior one. The shoulders have to be protracted for this to be a healthy and beneficial movement. Let's do it one more time. Retract the shoulders, hug them down. Notice your shoulder blades really hugging in around your blanket, lifting up. And again, shoulder blades are spreading and drawing upward. We'll take the arms all the way back up. They are protracted at the top. And now we will do the reverse. I invite you again, close the eyes. And then slowly begin to lower your arms down. It might take more than one breath cycle. Keep your arms super wide. So it's stretching into the fingers. You will feel how your pec, the front of the chest, begins to have a little chat. Allow the back of your palms to come down, kind of at the same time. Relax the elbows and bend the elbows again. Back into cactus or goalpost arms, wiggling the fingers here. Talking to all the fascia. And then we're just going to straighten the right leg up. We're going to roll to the right side. Now, the left may be better for you, so it doesn't matter. We're going to sit up. And we're going to change. So from the spinal roll, we're now going to move more to a upper chest roll. So we're working right now really on the pec minors because they run this way, pec majors run this way. So turn your blanket sideways. And now I invite you to have a strap nearby. We're going to create a shoulder wide loop of the strap. So that when you put the strap on, it will help guide our arm movement. And then once you have all of this set up, you're going to come down so that the top of the shoulder blades are on the mat. The armpits clears the blanket roll. And then here, you might like to have a blanket or pillow under your head if you find that your chin is really jutty. You can also just take one of the blankets rolls out of the way. It doesn't have to be two. So now here we're working on the thoracic spine where kyphosis sometimes happens. And we'll take the strap and place it around the arms. Now draw the tailbone towards the heels. So with my shoulder blades on the blanket, but also my lower ribs on the blanket. So I'm going to keep an awareness of the blanket where it is. And as I inhale, I'm going to protract the shoulders again and draw the arms up. My shoulder blades are sliding again. But now my lower ribs are going to stay towards the blanket. So I'm not coming into a back bend more than what I'm already in. Let's inhale, take the arms back up. And again, protract the arms, reaching back, extending, ribs staying on the blanket support, as opposed to arching the low back to facilitate the arm movement. That means that the latissimus dorsi, the lats, have shortened because they connect at the back of the arm all the way down to the low back. So the arms may not come all the way back. Let's do that one more time. This time, let's, if you haven't already, add the retract. Pull the shoulder blades down and together. We'll lift again and draw the arms back. Draw the arms back. Keep pressing into the belt. The thumbs, the hands may come all the way down. They may stay floaty, and then maybe straightening the legs out. But keep your ribs on your blanket and keep your legs active, firm. And then breathe into the lungs. Let everything expand around the rib cage. So this can be a wee bit intense. You're kind of sort of in a handstand here. Of course, all our inversions either address protraction, handstands, dolphin, downward facing dog, or retraction, that would be shoulder stand. And Viparita Karni, legs up the wall. All right, let's take the arms back up again. And we'll take the strap off. Bend up the knees. And we're gonna roll off this little event. And then we'll come to lay all the way down on the back. And just feeling your back body. So now that we have taken out our training wheels here, straightening the legs out. So Supta Tadasana, reclined mountain pose, with the palms facing your hips, heels reaching away from the crown of the head. Does the center of the back of your head and your sacrum, do they touch the floor? Then we know that our posture is about neutral. It may take a little effort drawing the abdomen in and up. And if there's tension in the low back and you let go, you may feel like you're coming more towards the tailbone. There's a little bit of a forward tilt of the pelvis. Notice also if your shoulder blades are touching the floor evenly. One may be a little bit more pokey. And it just gives us clues about what's going on in our shoulders. We have a dominant side and a non-dominant side. Now inhale, let's take the arms up, reaching up. And then protract again. And take the arms all the way overhead. Keep reaching out through the heels. Keep reaching out through the heels. Reaching, full body stretch. And then press out through the right heel and the right hand so the right side lengthens. And let that come back to neutral. And let's do the other side. Like you're walking on your back. A little sidey slidey. Working on the side seam. Our obliques. Our abdominis transversus wraps around. The psoas that connects from the lumbar spine down to the hip. So all of this plays a role in our shoulder mobility. And let's stretch out through all four. 2 hands, 2 feet. And exhale, we'll take the arms down again and roll over onto one side. And I think we're ready to get to work. So from here, let's just sit just for a moment. And just ponder. We got that. So our shoulders, again, is an amazing joint. It does abduction, abduction, arms out to the side. Check that one out. Now we are, again, everything is sliding and gliding on the back. And we can do the same thing, take the arms forward and up, which is what we were doing. And this is extension. Upward now, actually, sorry, that's flexion. Extension is back. Shoulder movements. So how much mobility is back and how much is up? But notice if one shoulder is a little stickier than the other. Where is it stickier? And often when there is a sticky part, we might force that, yes. So no forcing, let the movement be there, because when we force a movement, that creates a little bit more tension. So we got all of the extensions and the abduction, of course, taking them in is adduction. Now we can add rotation. This is where the rotator cuffs really shine. So rotation, you see me here, is when we can take the arms out to the sides and then in front. Now this can happen, of course, without the elbows bent. You can take the arms down, roll the shoulders forward. You feel the pec majors right now are engaging. Roll the shoulders back, the rhomboids, the shoulders between the shoulder blades, along with our rotator cuffs, are helping us out here. So those are the main players, if you will. We tend to be too tight here, so we worked on getting that released. And the back body is really not working. And then we have the serratus anterior, which you could see on the muscular one, and that's the one that anchors the shoulder blade. If you take one hand back and just follow the border of your shoulder blade on one side. Now serratus anterior grabs the shoulder blade and then anchors it to the spine downward. When the serratus anterior is weak, our shoulder blade unanchored. And when we're weight bearing, which we're going to be now in tabletop, we need the serratus anterior to get on board. Now, first, we're going to do the retraction and protraction. So retract, pull the shoulders into the socket. So this is not a cow pose. Retract, press the shoulders, the hands into the floor, but lift the shoulders up. Again, not rounding, but only the shoulders are moving up and down. Exactly what we did on our back. Feeling the shoulder blades sliding together and then separating. Next time you lift up in the separation, we're going to hold that. So the low abdomen is helping out a little bit here. Take your right arm forward. Right arm goes forward, and then lift the right arm up and lower it down. Lifting and lowering, keeping stability on the left side as you move the right arm up and down. So the pinky side of the right arm will just tap the floor, elbow stays straight, and then lifting up again. So the shoulder blade is sliding on the right, and the left is now creating stability. It has to keep that left shoulder from collapsing. Can you feel that? Well, I had that one memorable moment with my dear sister, pondering my shoulder a few years ago. And she said very lovingly, "You suck at this." And so let's do the other side. So the work is really happening now on the right shoulder, even though it's the left that's moving. So the left, we are just pondering mobility, but don't spend too much time thinking about the left. Really feel the right shoulder and the right side chest, anchoring the right shoulder blade and holding it there. Plank pose, that's all day long. We have got to talk to this pose. Back and forth. Notice if one shoulder is a little weaker than the other. That, again, we tend to have one that's really on the job and then one that's not so happy to be on the job. So that's the one for rehabilitation that we want to give a little extra TLC. Now let's come back to tabletop. And we'll tuck the toes under and stretch back to puppy pose. Notice your shoulders as you stretch back with arms coming forward. And only as far as it's comfortable. Inhaling, let's come up into our tall cobra. Shoulder blades squeezing together and down on the back now. Exhale, go back to puppy. And come forward again. Shoulder blades down and together. Lower abdomen is lifted. And draw back. Coming up again, one last one before we're going to segue. So here in our tall cobra, it's a back bend. But lifting the hips. And we're going to use the serratus anterior again to stabilize the shoulders as we slowly lower down. So we know our little friend Bhujangasana, cobra pose, with the hands by the side chest, rolling the shoulders up and down the back, and pin the hips down. Or like T.S. Little likes to say, spike the hips down. I think that sounds a little harsh. Now inhaling, lifting the head and the heart, not very high, so the muscles on the upper back are really helping us create this. Keep pressing the hips down. Press the hips down. Draw the shoulder blades together and down the back, without which back bending with the arms down is really challenging. We're going to lower all the way down. We're going to take the arms out to the sides with the hands under the elbows. My elbows are bent up at 90 degrees. So this is the sort of above arm look. And I'm on my fingertips, like very big spiders on each side. Let the forehead rest on the mat. Rolling the shoulders again down the back, draw the shoulder blades together. Press the hips down and inhale, lift the head, lift the heart, lifting, breathing. Shoulder blades anchored down and slowly lower down. Shake out the shoulders. Only go as high as is comfortable for your body. We'll do this one more time, and we'll add a little twisty event. So drawing the shoulders down and together again. Inhale, lift the heart. And now twist, look over the right shoulder. So the left shoulder will draw forward. And then go in the opposite direction. Looking over the left shoulders. Moving the shoulder blades to move the shoulders, to move you in and out of the twist. And we come back to center after the left side. Let's lift up one more time. Squeeze the buns and lower down, lower down. Let your arms rest down alongside the body. Shake everything out if it's got a little creaky. And which gets us ready for Shalabhasana. We'll draw the legs together. Turn the palms towards the hips. Just like a prone mountain pose. Inhale as roll the shoulders up and down the back. The head begins to float up. The arms are lifting, maybe the legs. So the whole back seam is squeezing together, squeezing together. And breathing. One more breath. And lower down. And we'll take the hands back beside the shoulders, or the side chest is what I meant to say. Roll the shoulders up and down the back. Are we ready for Classical cobra again. Inhale, lift the head, lift the heart. So all of these back bendings are really great for our shoulders, if they are great for our shoulders. Pressing up, tall cobra. And go back to puppy pose. Lengthen back. Lengthen back. And then we return to tabletop. And we'll spend just a little bit of time with our wrists. So with the hands under the shoulders, and that may not be comfortable, because we're actually taking the palm or the wrist to a 90-degree angle, and we really only have 70 degrees from God. So with that, you may feel more comfortable having the arm out a little bit further. And turn the fingers out to the side. So I'll turn around, you can see me a little bit better. Fingers turns out to the side. I'm just gonna shift from side to side like a great big gorilla. And then turn the palms around. And again, shifting about like a great big gorilla. We may notice that we have more rotation on one arm than the other. So paying attention to what's happening in our bodies. Now here, I'll turn sideways this way again. Bending the elbows, but keep the hands down, bending the elbows. So they're not going to bend very far. And then lift the palms, but keep the fingers down. Lift the palms, keeping the fingers down. I'm shifting my weight back a little bit. And we'll take the palms down, turn them back to where we started. And then right hand, I'm just going to take the back of the hand so my palm is facing up. I'm only going to do one hand at a time because this can be a little intense. Taking a breath here. And switch to the left one. Back of the head on the mat. And releasing that. And we'll shake out the right hand. Easy peasy. Squid hands. And left one. Shake it out, squiddy, squiddy. And place it down. So the hands now preparing for downward facing dog. Weight bearing, so we got to get all parts on board. Spreading the fingers as wide as is comfortable for you. And then the thumb mount, index finger mount. Each knuckle all the way across to the pinky finger mount and to the heel of the hand without collapsing the wrist. So there's a sense of lifting the forearms up and away from the palms. Lifting the forearms up and away from the palms. So notice how much your arms are actually engaging to do that. Now bend the elbows a little bit, let go of that pressure. And we're going to scoop the elbows towards one another. I'm spreading my fingers, thumb out, index finger mount all the way across, straightening the elbows. Again, lifting the forearms away from the fingers. Now holding this sensation, you can feel the serratus anterior is really turned on-ish. So we'll tuck the toes, we'll come into a very short little dog. Tucking the toes and lifting up. Keep the actions in the hands, the actions in serratus anterior, so they are hugging the side chest, helping the shoulder blade to be anchored. What you're also working back there is the posterior deltoid, the back of your big, the biggest of our shoulder muscles, that cape or cup on top. As you exhale, let's take the knees down again. That's hard work for the hands and the arms. But it's really good because, again, as women in particular, we tend to get kind of, not weak is not the best word, but our arms and hands as we age, like with everything else, to start repeating a word. So keeping the muscles engaged. Now press the hands down, squeeze in around, bone in the arms. And as you exhale, we're going to lift the hips up, keeping the shoulders engaged. Lift the hips, we're in downward facing dog. Hugging muscle in and around the shoulders. But the head hangs completely relaxed. Completely relaxed. And then looking up as you inhale and exhale, walk or step the feet to the hands, hands to the feet. And just allow the knees to bend. Give the head a little bit of a nod and a square to let the weight of the head, any chance we get to traction down, unless of course there are reasons we shouldn't do inversions, high blood pressure, glaucoma, hiatal hernia. And then from here, let's look up, flatten the back, bend the knees, flatten the back, bend the knees. Take the arms out to the sides. So we're gonna go for a little flight here. So now I'm putting the weight in my heels, weight is in the heels. And my legs are working, the tush, the thighs, breathing. Now press into the feet and let's go all the way up. Draw the arms out and up, reaching up. And take the hands down. And pause. How are you feeling? Good. We've got a thumbs up there. We're going to take the strap again. And then make the loop a little bit longer. For our posture. So when I say a little bit longer, I mean from the leg length, from hip to heels. So remember this one here helps us get our shoulders traveling in the right direction. Stepping into the strap from the back. So here I have to stand in a little bit of a not really great posture, but I'm going to use this to lengthen my shoulders. We're going to draw up and back. So as you inhale here, knees are bent, press into the strap, reaching out through the crown of the head, let the shoulders draw back, down the back, back and down, back and down, back and down. And let go. Maybe tighten the strap a little bit, 1/4 of an inch, maybe not much. So we're working on the pec minors right now. They're right at the top, drawing from the shoulder blade down to the ribs, the top ribs. So again, I'm standing with my knees bent, best as I can, back of my head and my sacrum on the same plane. When you're ready, inhale. Straighten the legs, shoulder blades, back and down. And of course, this also tractions the elbows and the wrists. Reach the crown of the head up, draw the tailbone to the heels, tailbone to the heels, tailbone to the heels. And then let the strap drop and stand in mountain pose. Breathing in, breathing out. Effortless ease or effortless effort, which now gets us ready. We just had a little bit of fun with our shoulder movements. So we'll take the strap, place it to the side, and we'll stand at the top of the mat. I always like a good twofer. Let's take the hands to the hips, and we'll step the right leg back. Spin the heel down for warrior one stance. So you'll choose a stance that feels good for you. Let the arms hang. As best as you can tell, back of the head and your sacrum on the same plane-ish. Let's just roll the shoulders several times in both directions. They're hanging, the arms are hanging completely passive, just following around. Just have a little bit of fun with the shoulders. And then here, let's take them up for warrior one. Shoulders, blades now drawing upward. Reaching, breathing. Reaching back through the back heel. So your right tush is helping out. Everything is firm around the right hip. And we'll take the arms out to the sides and down, interlace the fingers behind the back. Let's roll the shoulders up and down the back. Draw the arms back. Straighten the front leg. Parsvottanasana. Now inhale, there's a little back bend here. Draw the arms down and back as we did with the strap. And exhale, we come forward. Draw out over the left leg. Arms may come to the sky. So the shoulder blades are drawing down and back, down and back. Breathing. And inhale all the way up. Bend the knees, release the hands. We go back into warrior one. Reaching the arms up. Breathing. And we'll take the hands to the floors and travel back through downward facing dog. A very mindful dog. And we'll inhale forward to plank pose. Crown of the head and heels, and here the shoulders are protracted. Protracted. Breathe, hold. And on the out breath, back to downward facing dog. Hips high, 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 high. Looking up, and we'll take the right foot up behind the hands. So not all the way up, between the hands. Spin the back heel down. And inhale, warrior one. Left side. Reaching up. Isn't it the most perfect first day of fall? It's raining. Temperature is right for fall. Gotta love it. Now, are you using your left glute? Has it sprung into action? Is your left knee straight? Left knee straight. Right knee over the ankle. And we'll take the hands back. Clasp with the other thumb in front. So we tend to do the same interlace. Roll the shoulders down and together. Maybe straighten the elbows, and we lift up into a back bend here too. Lift, lift, lift the heart. And straighten the front knee, and we begin the journey forward. Parsvottanasana. Breathing. Lifting the shoulders up, away from the floor, shoulder blades together, shoulder blades together. And inhale, bend the knee a wee bit, pressing back up through our warrior one, all the way to the sky. Boom. Breathe. Reach. So just like a downward facing dog here, the back of your shoulder, the deltoid, is engaged. So is serratus anterior, hugging the shoulder blades onto the back ribs, onto the back ribs. Back ribs is what I'm trying to say. And again, we'll take the arms down, step back to downward facing dog. Out little handstand. Lift the hips high. And stretch the heels back. Stretch the heels back. Opening the back of the knees. And inhale forward to plank pose. We'll take the knees down and take the forearms down. So palms facing the floor again, with the inner wrists drawing down. Notice what happens if you get a little unattentive, is a good word, and let your wrist roll outward and then ground them again. How does that relate to the shoulder blades? From being anchored to being not anchored. Draw the shoulder blades onto the back body, pressing the forearms and palms down. So we are already stabilizing before we even go up. Toes are tucked under, and when you're ready, lifting the hips, pulling the hips up high, 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 head hangs down. A dolphin. Breathing in and breathing out. And walk the feet back. Forearm plank. Forearm plank. Breathing in. Oh, and breathing out. The legs straight and firm or knees down. Lower abdomen is still on the job. Taking care of your body in the pose. And we'll let the hips come down for Sphinx pose. Reaching back through the toes. The tops of the feet have come onto the mat. Let the whole front body lengthen. And lowering all the way down. Take the legs apart. We're going to take a little breather in, crocodile. So whether the hands are under the head turned to one side or straight down. Breathing into the low back, the sacrum. And then I think we are ready for bow pose. So here, lifting up again to Sphinx pose. It's a great place to start the pose. And we'll bend up the right leg. It may be available. So we can use a strap, or we can move with the leg bent and the hand still in Sphinx pose. Maybe take the left in. And then inhale, kick the feet away if you have the hands around the ankles, or keep pulling the heels in and lifting the heart. Breathing, lifting, maybe lift the thighs. That's the big maybe. And let's lower down. Whew. And pause. I'm a big fan of pausing. And the pause is as important as the pose. Just this other side of the same coin, the yin to the yang. And let's travel onto our back body. Now the blankets that we used earlier, we're going to use them again. So I got this little stack here. And I'm going to use it for restorative bridge pose. Sliding right under the sacrum. And let your arms relax in any way that's comfortable. We have asked a lot of our shoulders in today's practice. So starting with the knees bend up. And then we'll invite a little bit more release of the psoas. Slide your right leg out. Keep the foot down, don't lift it. And then press out through the right heel. Keep the right leg active. Another breath. Slide the heel back in. And the left leg slides up. Lengthening out through the leg, through the heel. And keep the sacrum balanced from left to right, right to left. We'll draw the right leg back in. Let's take the right leg in. Keep the little back bend in your low back. We'll take the left in, but we're pretty carny. The legs to the sky, they can be straight, they can be bent. But pretty carny is our, I like to think of it as a baby shoulder stand. So the shoulder actions are the same. The shoulders are drawing down and together. But in this more restorative version, we can keep a softness and an ease as we breathe in and receive the benefit from the inversion. Increasing blood flow to our upper extremities. So the heart and the lungs, the throat, and of course the brain. Then I invite you to let your legs draw towards your body. So I'm going to keep my back body on the blanket. That's why we're not using a block, because that gets really hard. For Supta, Paschimottanasana, it is upward facing, forward fold. And in this orientation, the low back gets a little bit more stretch. I'm just catching my legs, my feet, with my hands, wherever it feels good. The knees can absolutely bend and soften if that feels better for your body. And I think we are about ready for our last stop, Shavasana. And for today, I invite you to slide the blanket down so that your thighs will catch the blankets as you now release. Let your body rest in a manner that is comfortable for you. Gently turn the head from side to side. And let it come to rest in the middle. Settling back into your breath. As if your whole body is breathing in and breathing out. Let there be a sense of spaciousness around the heart and the lungs. The lungs, the seat of grief, and they become restricted. They kind of squeeze the heart as well. So we call it a heavy heart, but what it really is a tight heart. When we relax around the shoulders, around the lungs, the heart is not squeezed. And it can hold whatever needs to be held. Now gently begin to wiggle your fingers and toes, deepening the breath. Enjoy the sensations of moving, of breathing, of being. Bending up the knees. Maybe rock the knees gently from side to side. Rolling on to the right or the left side. And we'll use our arms and hands to press up into a comfortable seated position. And here we are again, closing with the chant for peace. Om Shanti, 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 Om. Peace within, peace without, letting your intention reach the peace that you seek. Let's take a deep breath in. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti Om. Exhale and bow your head towards your heart. And place one hand on your heart center and then the other. It doesn't matter which one. And as you breathe in and out, hear your heart's message. It's okay. It's gonna be okay. It says, I got this. We'll draw the gaze up. We'll bring the palms together. Thank you. Namaste. And I shall go ahead and stop the recording.